Hey guys, what's up? 20,000 subscribers. Thank you very much once again for that. Thank you for helping me achieve that goal, for supporting me all these times throughout the many years, months, or even days in my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that, guys. You rock. Anyway, to celebrate this new milestone in my life, in my YouTube career, I made this weekend video. I decided to talk about my absolute favorite video game franchise of all time. And also I thought about making this little special video called What was the first RPG you ever played? And in my case, we're talking about Final Fantasy Legend 2. This is an old story. If you've been following this channel, you probably know the story that I'm about to tell. But if you don't, or if you want to just reminisce about it, let's do it once again. Final Fantasy Legend 2, originally known as Saga 2 from the Saga franchise, not exactly a Final Fantasy game. They just borrowed the game when they localized it here, to milk the franchise and take advantage of the popularity of the Final Fantasy games. Long story short, they changed the name, but it's not exactly a Final Fantasy game, it's a Saga game. From the Saga franchise, Romancing Saga, Saga Frontier, yeah, those games. So, I knew nothing about this franchise or the Saga franchise back then when I first played this game. Hell, I don't think I even knew what an RPG was. To me, a role-playing game, I had never heard that term before. So, my story begins with the Game Boy, obviously. When I was like 8 years old, my cousin gave the Game Boy to my sister and I. So we had a bunch of games like Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Land, yeah, the yellow cartridge, Killer Instinct, we had this Super Mario Land for a while, and Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle, just right here. And we knew nothing about RPGs. Guys, I don't count the Legend of Zelda games as RPGs. Because if I did, then Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link on the NES will be my first RPG, but I don't think that's an RPG for many different reasons. I made a video about that already. So, you could say that my first true RPG was Final Fantasy Legend 2. So my story begins with the Game Boy. I had the Game Boy, but it wasn't until I was in high school, I was 12 years old, and my best friend one day said to me, "Hey, you need to try this game. You have a Game Boy?" "Yeah, I do." "Try it out." And I was like, the hell is this? Final Fantasy Legend 2? The hell? So anyway, I got home, I put it in my Game Boy, and the moment I started playing this game, from the moment you start creating your characters, choosing the type of character, putting the names to them, then wandering around town, and then talking to people, and then leaving town, and getting into these random encounters in a turn-based battle system, that was like, I felt like I was playing a video game from another planet. I had never in my life played a similar game to this one before. Never. This was completely new to me. Not even Zelda came close to comparing with Final Fantasy Legend 2. But anyway, like I said before, I didn't know what RPGs were. I didn't know what Final Fantasy was, or Saga, or whatever. Back then, internet was just beginning, was just becoming something of our daily lives. But when I was 12 years old, it was barely a possibility back then. So I had no idea about this game. So I never beat this game. I just fell completely in love with it. I got so flabbergasted, so addicted to it, that I didn't want to give the game back to my friend. But he kept saying, "Hey, it's time to give it back. Hey, my game. Yeah, do you remember that game I lent you? Yeah, I kinda want it back now, So I got stuck in this boss battle against Odin and some monsters here. I never beat that battle. For the first time in my life, I learned what grinding was. I didn't know back then that it was called grinding. To me, it was just leveling up. So I was leveling up and tried my ass a few times against this boss and couldn't beat it. So I was like, okay, here's your game back. So months later, I asked my friend again, "Hey, do you have that game? Can you lend it back to me again?" I sold it. Well, And back then it was just really hard for a Mexican to afford these kinds of games or to just find them anywhere. I mean, of course there were like flea markets or just video game stores, but you couldn't find games like this anywhere. RPGs were like alien for a Mexican, you know. It wasn't until the internet era really started. I was like 15 years old already, and it wasn't until browsing on the internet became available that I realized that this was called an RPG. And when I was like 16 or 17 years old, that's when I picked up Super Mario RPG, and I made a connection, you know, oh, this is very similar to this. So I looked up in the internet what the hell was RPG? What was that? What did that stand for? And I realized it was a role-playing game, a genre of games. And then I came up with this one again. I never emulated this game again. I just didn't have enough time, and I didn't have it back until one of my fans sent this to me. And now I have it in my hands again. Well, I've been having this for like a couple of months already, but just to have this, the first RPG that I ever played in my life once again, fills me with joy. So this is where my journey began. This game is where everything started. Maybe Erick Landon RPG wouldn't exist if not for this game. But anyway, that's my story, guys. Now it's your turn to answer this question. What was the first RPG you ever played? And just for the record, if any of you guys consider The Legend of Zelda's RPGs, that's fine, but just pick another game for my sake. For my sake, I have nothing against that franchise. I'm a huge fan of A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, but the thing is that we're talking about try to find something that is a true role-playing adventure, like Final Fantasy, well, like Saga 2 on the Game Boy. Great game. Alright, so answer the question in the comment section below. Once again, thank you so much for helping me achieve the 20,000 subscribers milestone. Let's just aim for a new goal, 25, maybe 30. Who knows? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!